Hello, good morning, and welcome to IMR's September webinar, Unlock Your Digital Transformation Journey, Strategies for Delivering Maximum Impact. At this stage, we probably all know how important it is to digitally transform our organizations, but knowing where to start, what to focus on or prioritize, how to sustain it and how to scale it can be more challenging. And that's why we've put together this all-star cast for this webinar. Joining us this morning, we have IMR's Senior Smart Industry Advisor, Gael Beaulieu, IMR's Commercial Director, Nick Rowe, and we're delighted to be joined by the Managing Director of Bijur Delimon, Martin Egan. But first up, I'll welcome the man who used to host these webinars, so no pressure on me there, IMR's Chief Innovation and Network Officer, Andrew Lynch. Andrew is involved in the European policy side for IMR, and he serves on numerous high-profile boards and committees, including the EFRA Made in Europe Partnership Board. He is the Vice President of Eureka Smart Manufacturing, and he's part of the Manu Future High-Level Group, to name just a few. I could keep going, but we've only got 45 minutes, so with that, let me welcome Andrew. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Gary, for that very kind introduction. It's lovely to be part of this exciting webinar today. And for those of you who know me well, digital transformation is a subject that's very close to my own heart. As Gary kindly mentioned, I'm involved for a lot of my time here in IMR as Chief Innovation Officer at that European level, that policy level. So before we start, just want to maybe think a little bit about that and what it means. And you know, for the last 400 years, Europe has been at the heart of manufacturing at an international global level. All of that goodness, all of that drivers, the innovation have come for the last centuries from the European continent. And yet when you think of companies today, what you really think of is American multinationals like Google or Facebook or Amazon or Apple, all these wonderful organizations. And it's not just from an economy perspective. We're beginning to see countries and national governments, geopolitical regions lean into this sector because that's where the transformation is occurring. And it's also occurring in our manufacturing sector, whether it's the ERP systems or CRMs or these digital sensors that are pulling down huge data and huge value, increasing our innovation and indeed reducing our costs. And cost is a very important part of who we are as a manufacturing community. And as we know very well in Ireland and indeed across most of Europe, we live in a high-cost economy. And when your manufactured goods are being exported to lower-cost economies, particularly in a region or a time of high inflation, we know that our goods inherently cost more. So as a government or as a policymakers and so on, we have two levers that we can pull. The first is a race to the bottom, that idea of trying to reduce our costs to equate, which is very difficult in a high-cost economy. The second lever is, of course, doubling down on innovation. Not just innovation and technology packed into the products that we produce, but also the manufacturing sites that are delivering these goods. In Ireland and indeed in Europe, the policies that we're chasing here is the double down on innovation. If you look at any of the strategies and policies that have been delivered by the Irish government in the last 15 years, you'll see the term high value goods. We're clearly moving away from low-cost, high-volume widget manufacturing to more higher order, high-value add type of goods. And you can see this if you look at the sectors that are represented in the Irish economy right now: medical devices, engineering, food, pharma, machinery, ICT products, and so on. We know that the companies that are building these products are green, they're digital, and agile. Because if they're not green, digital, and agile, then they will cease to exist. And Europe leads the way here in the context of this at a global level. We will deliver the world's first carbon neutral industrial base, which is an incredible ambition to have across an entire platform, across an entire continent. And we're seeing the output of that, the money that's available in grants and tax credits and so on to help companies transition. We see this in Ireland very obviously through Enterprise Ireland, SFI, IDA, and so on. What's less clear, perhaps, is the challenge that we have with taxes and tariffs coming down from companies in the future that do not comply with this transformation. And yet manufacturers right across Europe, particularly in the SME sector, are not moving quickly enough. We would describe them as being fat, dumb, and happy. Their order books are full for now. All we hear in terms of a problem statement is that we can't get the right people. And this mantra, increasingly loud, is beginning to sound like German car manufacturers sounded 5 years ago when they openly mocked Tesla as being a computer on wheels. That's no longer the case. We're seeing non-fossil fuels, electric vehicles transform that sector. We're seeing Germany in turmoil as a result because the complex componentries that used to protect that economy for decades are no longer there. It is the same for all of us, and pivot we must. How many people listening to me this morning have a fully functional digital twin in your facility? How many people actually understand what that means? And yet there are other people on this forum this morning who are using those digital twins right now, gaining competitive advantage, building knowledge on their facility, saving money, becoming more competitive, becoming more innovative. And those of you who are in supply chains for large multinationals will know that SMEs will be part of that AI driving advantage through a digital twin program. If you're not tooled up, you will be left outside. And yet some academic research, and it's only fair that I point this out, is showing that when SMEs go on a digital journey, at times they can lose profitability. That's part of a transition phase for any innovation. But more pertinently here, what we're finding is it's because industry leaders go about this in an ad hoc fashion, latching on to technologies that they like personally, instead of properly evaluating business needs in a coherent fashion. We'll learn more about that in a couple of moments, but first I'm delighted to welcome a practitioner who's gone through this. A wonderful partner here to us in IMR, Martin Egan. You can see his slides are up on the screen. Martin is the Managing Director of Bijur Delimon, Ireland, which is based out of Ennis in County Clare, and indeed has been there since the early 70s. Martin, a proud Corkman, is handing over to the current All-Ireland champions, a proud Clareman. Take it away, sir. Delighted to have you as part of this and looking forward to seeing your presentation, sir.
Okay, thank you, Andrew. It's a pleasure. It's a special pleasure on the hurling front, but nevertheless. So good morning, everybody. And firstly, who are we? Basically, we are Bijur Delimon International. We're engaged in the design and manufacture of what we'll term as centralized lubrication systems for light industry. Basically, on the left of your screen there, you see one of our primary products, our Surefire pump, and that's used on a daily basis to lubricate the chains and the bearings and the rollers of all those systems which make life easy, move us about, the escalators in the shopping centers and so forth, the railway stations, the packaging equipment which fills your yogurt and your milk and your beer and so forth. We're there. So why did we go down the digitalization route? Basically, we had a problem, as many industries have, a problem of lack of agility, the lack of ability to change and to move quickly with changing circumstances, changing customer demand, changing competitor capabilities and so forth, missing targets, late deliveries, negative corporate image. So we needed a new vision. We needed to move forward and to be more agile, to be recognized within our own group through people delivering improvement led by 4.0 technology. And so we created that vision and that mission, and critically with the involvement and help of every single employee. We felt from past experience that as a management team we had set our sights on a new North Star and didn't involve everybody who works in this building, who make their living here, who pay their mortgages and so forth from this business. This time we didn't make that mistake. We involved everybody. In fact, I would say they created the vision more so than the management. So we started on the journey back in 2020, and I think we kept in mind our vision. The people come first. Process and technology are secondary. Without the people on board, without their engagement, without their wholehearted involvement, this is not going to work. So we started on the people side, early 2020, lean training for everybody. We trained every single employee here on the disciplines of process mapping. We gave them the knowledge and the tools to process map their own work center. They know more about what they do on a daily basis than any manager or any management team. And subsequently, later in 2020, we began to deploy the technology. We began to deploy the sensors on the machines, the PowerPoint reports, and created this new dashboards. Moving forward into 2021, we're now moving from the old paper-based business slowly but surely into new paperless cells, getting rid of tons of paper, tons of out-of-date paper in many cases. Later in 21, we're moving into the 4.0 technology itself. By 2022, going into 23, our employees now have a significant amount of training and, let's say, experience in the business of process mapping and thinking about how they work and how they contribute to the business, and they're now becoming CI champions. They are gaining formal education from Limerick University and Yellow Belt. And at the end, I think it all winds up in being a smart factory with everybody empowered to deliver more and push us ahead. So basically, this slide you see here is a floor map of the factory. We wanted every single department, every single work cell, every single employee engaged. So, you know, we left nobody out. 5S projects right from the front office, from purchasing, from accounting people, from production control people to the assembly operators, the machine operators, the stores and packing operators, process mapping in key areas, and then technology deployed in 2020, basically in the machine shop, those green buttons you see. And as we move forward into 21, but we're now deploying the technology into the assembly area, the stores area. Our employees in various areas are receiving formal yellow belt recognition and qualifications, and basically we're reinventing the business. What was that transformation? I think maybe this slide tells us. Here we were in 2020, 2021. Basically, even though we had a formal ERP system, it still generated a lot of paper. It still generated a lot of handwritten worksheets. We had to create on a daily basis very many Excel spreadsheets. And Excel is great, but it can become your enemy. And by 2023, I think we can truly say we have evolved to the digital twin. We really have that digital platform now, which represents our business and gives us the control across all aspects of the business, our machine shop, our assembly area, the quality department, the stores and shipping area. Within each area, we have all the digital tools now to manage the business, manage the shop orders, manage the daily functions. And with that digital twin, everybody is now working on the same set of data, the same set of up to the minute data. Finally, I think we are, as a management, We are now gathering critical data, critical to the function of the factory in right now, today, but also in making the critical decisions about how we invest for capital equipment, where we need training in any given area, what type of training we need. We observe the reds and the greens. It's green, visualization. We're happy on the green, but let's not dwell on it. We've got red KPIs here, left, right, and center. Let's go there. Let's analyze further. Let's find out what's wrong. Let's fix it. Again, in the supply of materials, I can't stress how much how much simple visualization brings to a business. All our employees now are told today, and they instinctively forget about the blue. If it's blue, there's a problem here. There's a shop order, a list of shop orders. They've got shortages. Blue means it's got shortage of an internally manufactured part. If that was a yellow color, it would be a shortage of a purchase part. The green means, as an operator, as an assembly operator, as a production operator, there's something I can do right now. It's green. I can make it. I can move it. By doing so, I'm feeding the blue and I'm turning that green. And in other words, we're not asking questions. We're not looking for a supervisor. We're not looking for a production controller to tell me what do I do next. Right now, as an operator, I see what I can do in order of merit and just do it. I'm empowered. KPIs. Again, the visualization power of key KPIs. When we started this journey, we had a particular problem. You know, we import a lot of container loads of parts and components from China and the Southeast Asia. You know, it can be a 40-foot container. It can contain, 800, 1,000 boxes. May be broken into 1,500, 2,500 part numbers. That container came in. It gets opened. Pallets are pulled out. There's boxes all over the incoming goods area. Meanwhile, 50 meters away in assembly, somebody wants 1 or 2 or 4 of those part numbers to make their schedule for the day. But we've got so much stuff lying around, it gets left aside. It takes 15. In this case, you could see 18 days in that slide. At the beginning, we were up around 35 days. Using the visualized KPIs, the transformation which happened in the stores and the warehouse area was just amazing. They knew what to do. They didn't want to be the bad performing KPI. We found those days dropping from 35, 25, 20, right down to where it is today, 2 days. It's a productivity enabler. Out in our machine shop, again, we would, under the paper-based system, we would have a given operator walking to a supervisor's office, walking to the quality area for gauges, walking to the stores area for material. Right now, on his dashboard, he's got everything at a click of a mouse. Everything is pre-prepared. The efficiency on machine setup has gone from a typical job taking 6-7 hours. Right now, we're averaging 1.5 hours. And I think it's mainly due to waste elimination. Kanban, I think, I guess the Japanese, Toyota invented the Kanban system, and it's been a bedrock of lean management and so on for decades now. I think here, as we journey through our digitalization, we began to see an opportunity to create a virtual Kanban. We digitalized the Kanban system. People in the stockroom, every morning now, this is their first dashboard. what do I need to deliver to the supermarkets in the assembly area, which I can deliver. They open that dashboard, see those greens, deliver the green. That's all you can do. Very efficient. No time lost. Nobody in assembly going around with a clipboard, looking into boxes, checking what's my stock like. All that sort of valuable, but at the same time, wasteful activity has been eliminated. Purchasing, critical function in your business. They now have the tools to look forward 1-2 weeks and see at a glance in a red slice of a pie chart, oh, in this case, I have 15 problems facing me in the next week to 2 weeks. Focus on the red. Let's not scroll through 40 pages of an Excel or a report from the old-fashioned ERP system. Click on that red. It brings you up all the data you need. Move, and we found that our purchase part shortage now in assembly, not quite zero, but very, very close. We've gained huge gains in productivity in that area alone. And it's a continuous journey. We're not finished yet. It's been 3 years now. We've made huge progress, but now we've moved on to digitizing our quality system. We're creating a customer return database. It's cloud-based. If a customer has a problem, they can log it in the cloud. We see it 5 minutes later. We're acting on it. They see we're acting on it. They see we are reactive and agile. Vendor rating. We are also putting our vendor performances in the cloud pretty soon. I think within the next 6-7 months, all our vendors will see it a click where they stand in our rating league, 1, 2, or 3, and they know what to do about it. The outcome, I think, summarize, it's a smart factory. We truly have the digital twin now. We are looking at live digital data. We're into a digitally powered continuous improvement project program, and we've really got a new culture. That vision and mission has driven us on to what is a continuous journey and a continuous journey of digitalization. In the end, renewed business. We're like Andrew said, we're a 50-year-old business. Now with a new lease of life. Much optimism for the future. Data-driven decision-making. Data is key. Data is key to managing your cost. Key to managing your supplier's your supplier expectations. Key to observing outperforming and low performing productivity. Confidence, as we did in one case, to significantly deliver cut pricing to deliver new business. And we've gained in amazing corporate recognition, which we didn't have prior to this. We're now recognized as the corporate lean digital center of excellence, where we have been given a mission to mentor other sites. And the system actually, which we have delivered here, is now being rolled out across our parent company in USA, North Carolina, and in our sister plant in Germany. And with that, thank you, and I'll hand you back to my colleagues in IMR.
Thank you, Martin. Brilliant stuff. I mean, it's great to see the evolution that Bijur Delimon has gone through and the impact that your digital transformation journey has had so far, and long may it continue. And it was really a great visual representation you gave us, so thanks for that. So we're halfway mark now with 2 more IMR speakers to come. Gael Beaulieu is a Senior Smart Industry Advisor and Certified SIRI Assessor Practitioner at IMR with over 34 years of experience in manufacturing across MNCs and SMEs. His experience is at local and global level and includes TPM with expertise across three main building blocks: process, technology, and organization. But first, I'm going to bring in IMR's commercial director, Nick Rowe. Nick has worked in industry for over 25 years in both engineering and commercial roles. He holds an engineering degree from the Queen's University Belfast, an MBA from University College Dublin, and Lean Six Sigma and project management certifications. Take it away, Nick.
Thank you, Gary. Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Andrew, for setting the scene, and also thank you, Martin, for that great, insightful journey that Bijur Delimon has taken. And it's great to see where Lean and the digital twin are coming together. First of all, what I want to do is go through how we want to show that IMR can help companies implement digital transformation. Who we are, we're a non-for-profit organization backed by Enterprise Ireland in the technology research and innovation sphere. We support industries in Ireland to achieve impact through advanced manufacturing. Our vision is very much around enabling advanced manufacturing in Ireland, built on both people and values. Our four thematic pillars are around digitalization, sustainable manufacturing, design for manufacturing, robotics, and automation. And all of these combine together to add value to our customer. If we now look at the digital transformation, we first of all listen to what pain points our customers have, whether this is around the digital plan, not having one, not being sure of which way to go, whether it's about investment, what technologies are most suitable, how to make the best use of data, or what skills do I need to invest in my organization. In essence, what we're talking about in digital transformation is about real-time information. This is about having the right information with the right person at the right time. If you look to the graph on the right, we've done in IMR 41 different digital assessments across many organizational sectors. And if you look on the horizontal, we have 16 dimensions, but more importantly, what you see is this is not technology-led. It's a combination of technology, process, and organization. Our approach is very much around plan, do, and scale. In the planning phase, we listen to the customer as a voice of customer, but then we prepare through our assessors, we prepare a SIRI assessment by gathering information and understanding really what are the cost drivers and what are the priorities within the organization. We do this over a 1 to 2 day period with the senior leadership team of the organization. In the do phase, we take that information and we prioritize and we focus on proof of concept delivery. And this is really proving to an organization where the value and the impact can be had through implementing a digital roadmap. And finally, we scale. Once we have actually delivered value and shown proof of concept, we then scale through the organization and see how we can improve and maximize the acceleration of digital within the organization. At this stage, what I'll do is hand over to my colleague, Gael, and he'll take us further into understanding what the SIRI assessment is. Take it away, Gael.
Thank you, Nick, and thank you, Andrew and Martin, for the great insights. So good morning, everyone. So before I explain what is SIRI, I want us to reflect on the following findings. Right. So according to McKinsey, 70% of the company who have implemented new technology has failed to deliver economic impact to their business. And there is two main reasons associated with this webinar today. First, company may have a strategy, but it is technology-led. And I will go back to that point later on. Secondly, companies do not know their level of maturity adoption regarding Industry 4.0 technology. So how IMR can help companies to mitigate those pitfalls and assist companies to start, scale, and sustain their digital transformation journey. So we in IMR use a maturity assessment tool called SIRI. We have delivered over 41 assessments across SMEs on multinational in the country, but we also have assisted multinational globally. We deliver SIRI in the US, Germany, and in the UK. So SIRI is delivered by a certified assessor, someone like me, and IMR is the only independent SIRI provider in the country today. So what is SIRI and what are the difference, or what differentiates SIRI from other digital assessment tools? So first of all, SIRI stands for Smart Industry Readiness Index, and it is the world first independent digital maturity assessment in manufacturing. Sorry. So why the word independent is important here? Simply because SIRI is not tailored to any specific country, industry, or technology provider. Secondly, the adoption of SIRI by international organizations such as the World Economic Forum further solidify its status as a global recognized standard framework. It is pretty much process-driven with two main frameworks, the assessment metric and the prioritization metric. And then it is impact-led approach rather than technology-led approach. Remember the 70% of the company who have failed. So let's pause for a minute and let me try to answer why impact-led approach rather than technology-led approach is important. First of all, technology-led approach focus on implementing the technology sometimes without a clear alignment with the business outcome. Remember that technology is just an enabler. And I will add to that digital transformation is not just about technology, and too many companies making that mistake. Digital transformation, it's more about driving change, innovation, and transformation within your organization. And I think Martin touched base on that earlier. So when we refer to impact-led approach, it's centered around the desired impact, such as your business goal. Impact-led approach see technology as a means to achieve the impact rather than an end to itself. So let's now look at the two frameworks mentioned earlier. Okay. So first major element of the SIRI assessment is the assessment metric. The leadership team, with the guidance of the certified assessor, identify the level of maturity across 16 dimensions, which sit on the three building blocks. You can see the process, the technology, and the organization. Again, reiterating that it is not just about the technology. Now, it's also important to note that this is not an audit. It is an assessment, and it is your assessment. So, under the process building block, we assess the level of integration vertically from the enterprise level to the shop floor, horizontally from the supplier to the customer, and we also assess the integration product lifecycle, especially if you have an R&D department. On the technology building block, we assess the shop floor, the enterprise, and the facilities, and we look at the level of automation, connectivity, and intelligence. Now, when we talk about intelligence, think about real-time information. Once again, Martin showed an example of that. Real-time decision-making. So how much of that really happening at your site today? To give you an example, and that's my own thought, looking at the dashboard with retrospective information is arguably not a real-time operation. The last building block is the organization. We assess the workforce on learning and development readiness level toward Industry 4.0 adoption. And again, we're talking about adoption, the skill gap on the culture shift. We are looking at the level of leadership competency to drive Industry 4.0 innovation. We're looking at the level of collaboration vertically and horizontally on the level, finally, of a strategy on governance related to your digital transformation. So the second framework, okay, is the TF framework. So in addition to the two-day state, which was the assessment metric we just discussed, SIRI look at the impact to your bottom line. Okay, and that's the I, and that's by analyzing your cost profile. SIRI looked at what is essential to your business, the E, and that by selecting 5 KPI. The fourth element is reference to the broader community, that's the R, and that's simply a benchmark. So following the assessment, you will get a report. So what do we get in the report? We have the result, which is your current state of your facility. We have the insight, which is the prioritized for impact dimension and the benchmark against your industry peer. We also have recommendation, key activity on timeline. So here is an example of a prioritized for impact dimension. So here, SIRI has selected 4 dimensions for this specifically this company. The process, so on the process, the horizontal integration, on the technology, shop floor intelligence, enterprise intelligence, and then under the organization, strategy and governance. And what that does is that it helps that company to start developing their digital strategy roadmap and, in a sense, kickstart their digital transformation journey. So what is the process of doing SIRI? So we have 4 phases. The first phase is the onboarding call. It's a planning 30 minutes, and we preparing the customer for the workshop. There is also associated to this a compulsory 2 e-learning module. We then move to phase 2. That's the evaluation. That's a 1.5-day workshop with the leadership team, where we do the evaluation on the prioritization. We then do a debrief report where the SIRI assessor will review or explain the result, the finding, and the recommendation. And finally, there will be a delivery of an official report. We then transition to the post-SIRI, which I will hand my presentation and pass on to Nick for the next slide. Nick, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Gael. So a key takeaway from the webinar this morning, I think we all can agree leadership is necessary for every organization, but none more so than when you're going through a transformational change. And leaders need to be involved in that process. And I think Martin's example shows that leadership. Also, key to take away from this is that digital transformation is not just about technology. Technology is important, but it is significantly more about people, mindset, and culture. And again, the examples from Martin, I think, echoes that. And finally, the key takeaway is to book an appointment and call to action with IMR. I'll hand back to Gary for questions. Thank you.
Great stuff. Thank you, Nick, and thank you, Gael. And again, thanks to Andrew and Martin. As Nick said, we'll get to the questions and answers now from Frank to Martin. So Frank said, great to see the lean implementation. How do you manage innovation within the site? For example, is it a defined process, and is it led from top down or team driven?
Okay, so I'd say when we began this journey back in late 1920, early 2020, it was top driven, and now it has evolved over time with the engagement of all of the people in that digital transformational journey. I think more and more individual employees are, they are innovating in their own particular work area in every day at a higher level. I suppose this journey has and the outcomes from it have really brought it home to us that positive change, this digital type of let's say process or outcome, is key to changing your business. It gives you more and more insights into how you can innovate, change, drive costs down. Is there a written formal process? No. But there is a realization that there needs to be something more formal, and actually we have actually engaged to go on this SIRI assessment process, and I think that will be, once it's complete, will be enable us to create a more structured framework as to how we should manage innovation going forward.
Great, thank you, Martin. And for Gael, what has Irish manufacturing research learned from its implementation with SMEs in Ireland?
Thanks, Gary, and thanks for asking the question. It's a great question. So first of all, you know, change management is at the heart of a successful DX. So it is a process. It is not a quick fix. However, your roadmap should have a combination of quick win and long-term win project. It's all start by having in place a well-designed process. There is no point in implementing new technology to support a poorly designed process. So that's some of the learning we had. You also need to address the organization. Nick touched a little bit on that one. And this includes awareness within the leadership on strive to innovation. You need a vision, a strategy to support your vision, and a plan to execute your strategy at every level, not just at the executive level. And let's start by educating across every level in your manufacturing. I will add that the digital transformation has to become part of your DNA, right? Because it is a shift within your approach. And it is a shift in the culture on your mindset. I must spend time working with organizations to successfully achieve the execution by helping developing their digital transformation journey and the strategy on formulating a roadmap, identifying the technology. It's come next. It's not what is first. So that's what kind of we learn from the past experience on the coming experience as well.
Great, thanks, Gael. We're just gone a little bit over. We do have a couple more questions that we'll get to, but I'm going to group a couple of these together, Nick, for you. And it's how do I know if SIRI is the right first step for an SME in Ireland? And is it or is it only for MNCs? And also, do I need to do a SIRI assessment as part of a digital transformation?
Great, thanks, Gary. No, great questions. Let me take the second one first. Do I need to do a SIRI assessment? No, is the bottom line. However, right, if you do a SIRI assessment, it gives you the opportunity to manage scarce resources, gives you the opportunity to have insight into what your priorities are, gives you the opportunity as a senior leadership team to have shared priorities. So all of those minimize the risks of, as Gael has put it, where you become the 70% failure, and provide you with an opportunity to have a more data-driven, insightful change, and therefore being more successful. So you don't have to, but it is highly recommended. Hopefully that answers.
Yeah, thank you. There's a question on how do we get in contact with IMR to discuss. So you can email any of the team here, or you can email us at info@imr.ie or marketing@imr.ie, or Claudia has also dropped a link in the chat, and there's a contact form on that and some more information about SIRI. There is a question here, it's anonymous, but how can we convince higher management like CEO, CFO to invest into the outcomes from SIRI? So I'm not sure who wants to take that one.
Yeah, I mean, I can give a go. It's all about it's not an easy task for sure. You know, the executive want to see a true justification on why they should invest or spend the time on it. But I think it starts by having the leadership be aware of what is coming up. You know, I mean, in urine that the technology is evolving so rapidly and still doing the same thing that you were doing 30 years ago will kill your business. So it's all about try to approach the leadership by making them aware of, you know, what are the risks of not doing nothing, right? When you look at justifying or doing approaching a business case, right? Okay, you always give an option to the leader to say yes or no. And one of the things is you can do nothing. This is what will happen, or you can do partially, or you can do fully. And that's the way I will be approaching the conversation with the leadership, by demonstrating that if they do nothing, things will not get better.
I would also add to that because SIRI is impact-led, you can engage with your leadership team in that discussion. And I've yet to meet a leadership team who's not interested in impact-led solutions. The thing is, how you need to phrase that and how you need to engage with your leadership team is really key. They need to be part of it and they need to see the value add. And as you build momentum through your change process, some quick wins in the beginning, you know, gives you that momentum. But it has to be all inclusive from the beginning.
Thanks, Nick, and thanks, Gael. And we'll get one more question in. Andrew, why is digital transformation so important for SMEs in Ireland right now?
A great question. I think we have a burning platform, whether we like it or not. You know, when you look at SMEs right throughout Europe, not just in Ireland, the order books are full, you know, and can't get the right people. And we're hearing the same thing over and over again. But the fundamentals of your business, as Gael said, are under primary threat. And part of this, you know, I thought it was a really interesting question around the leadership team there, and Gael hit the heart of it. You know, this is driven from the top down and the bottom up. We saw with Martin's case study, it is a mindset change. But the reality is, if you consider, for example, hearing aids in the world, they transition from traditional to additive manufacturing in about 9 months. So if you start there in January and you had a very healthy business, by October you were no longer in business. If you're not green, if you're not digital and agile, you won't be able to access the multinational partners in their supply chains. For example, the guys in Tesla just 2 months ago indicated that if you're not part of a UNS structure, digital naming system, basically, as part of their initiatives, you will no longer be a supplier to Tesla. That becomes law within their world in October of this year. That's how quickly this is changing. So there's a fundamental underpinning of your business here. So as Nick said, a lot of our leaders want to be action-led, but equally they want to be in business in a year from now. If you're under some sort of illusion that you can continue down this path and not change significantly in the next 3 years and to still have a business, you're dreaming. Simple as that. There's massive changes coming down the road. There is investment going in right now that's helping companies to take this. IMR as part of that on the national program here. But equally, you know, you will not be allowed to sell your product if you don't meet compliance issues here that we have coming down. And all of those are digital. So there's a reality that's coming, whether we like this or not. And part of this is right now things are okay. But that is not good enough. And we need to move on. Ireland is the 4th last in terms of digital uptake, according to the Lisbon crowd. We're the 2nd lowest of automation uptake anywhere in Europe, just ahead of Greece. We have a very healthy system at the moment. We're one of the highest GDP per person ratios, I think 2nd highest in Europe, just behind Luxembourg. How are we using that advantage now if we're not transitioning our industry partners now to take advantage? Because other countries certainly are well down that road. We don't have to look too far. Scandinavia, look at the money the British are putting into digitizing post-Brexit. I mean, people are not sitting on this. And we seem to be a little bit latent in terms of how we're going about it. Not the fault of Enterprise R&ID ASFI, for example, is a huge amount of money being put into the system to support this. The fault lies squarely with inertia inside it and our industry partners. And that has to change. When this avalanche hits, it's too late.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Andrew, for that. And with that, we will finish up. And to echo what Jerome just said in the chat, an hour well spent. So thanks again to Nick, Andrew, Gail, and Martin, and also to Fergal and Claudia for the support as well with the webinar. We will be back again in the next few months with another webinar. So keep an eye out on our social media channels and website for information about that. With that, thank you all and have a great week.